Well, back in the land of the living, I had an extremely unpleasant migraine. I still don't feel well, but I could at least think about food. And it was funny because I, in the very early days with Ron, he was very sweet. He would like lift my hair up and blow on the back of my neck when I was getting sick. He would bring me Gatorade, stuff like that, and then he didn't. So I had to get pretty good at self-care, of having things on hand, at hand when I got sick, so I could just manage it. And here's my baby. And the cats came by and gave me some sugar now and then. I need to see if they need food because I couldn't even think about smelling that cat food yesterday. I didn't need the bucket, but I was glad it was around. I started feeling bad around 6 last night. It kept escalating, and I finally realized there was no way I could work today, so I called out. There's an app. We just use the app to do that. And so I did that, and then just a bad night. I kept waking up and trying to stay hydrated because I think, part of this was I was out shopping. It was 118 degrees, feels like, and that's a lot. So that was number one. Number two, my dad was very quick to point this out, and it's interesting because my dad is not much of what I would say a spiritual warfare kind of guy. Now, me, I read This Present Darkness when I was a teenager by Frank Peretti. Very good book. There is ongoing spiritual warfare all the time. I believe that, although this book is fiction. It's very well written fiction, though. And so I knew that was it. And I know every time I do outreach, I am putting a target on my back, especially with the Bible handout. I have ongoing problems. I have accidents. I have illnesses. It's just all different kinds of things. Look at this baby. Look at this sweet, sweet baby. Yes, you are the baby. And, but I signed up for this one. I basically enlisted to do evangelism. And that's why I just told my parents I couldn't talk tonight in a text around the time I usually called because I was just not even fit for that. And the other factor, we had a tropical thing coming in, the remains of Bertha, and when when I have a system like that coming through, it can trigger a headache, if not migraine. I think everything combined made it migraine. So when it started raining, though, it started raining heavily around 6. I was much better by 7, so that was good. And also, I ran out of one of my prevention herbs about 4 or 5 days ago, the butterbur. I was going to show you the bottle, but someone is laying on me and isn't going to allow that. So, you'll just have to take my word for it. So I'll be getting more of that. I do have the feverfew. I'm going to keep taking the feverfew and the magnesium because I would have hated to see if I hadn't been taking anything when this hit. So there were just a lot of different issues that came up. And bad night, bad morning, bad afternoon. We can't forget my best friend here, the wet washcloth. I cannot say enough about the wet washcloth. And so, I like the way you look at me. I like the way you look at me. So, that was that. And once it started raining, I started feeling a little better. I'm still got a good, headache is a good 5 on a 1 to 10. It was a good 8 or 9 earlier. It's what I would call one of my 24-hour migraines. generally they don't go much longer than 24 hours. And but still a little foggy. But yeah, so that was not fun. And there was no way I could ride a bus like this either. That would have been bad. So but I made it, and I should be good to go tomorrow. But look at you. Look at that sweet baby. Oh, yes, you are the baby. He is the baby. And you're such a good cat. Mama's baby. So he wants you to know he was a good nurse cat. So one thing I want to do is get a little basket. I had a little basket like Ron had. He would have little health issues at home, and we went to he was using a back massager for his legs, and he would press it and hold it into his leg for hours at a time, because it helped, like with the neuropathy, it would like cancel it out. I think now they would just say, get the vagus nerve stimulator. Well, that was his version of it, and he said it helped a lot, but he was leaving blisters, and because the blisters were near his private area, he was getting infected a lot. And one time he had an infection. I said, I can't handle this. We need to see a doctor. And so we went to the doctor. The doctor took one look at Ron, one look at me, pointed his finger at me, said, "You've been burning him. Get out." And threw me out in the hall and was interrogating Ron about my abuse. And Ron's like, "She's not hurting me. I did this to myself." He kept saying it again and again and again. He said, "Please don't arrest her. I need her. She's not hurting me. She loves me." And with all of it was true. And, he said, "I really did this to myself." And he apparently believed Ron, because he decided to call off the dogs and wrote a prescription for oral antibiotics and sent us home. And Ron and I got out of there, and we just basically looked at each other, and he said, "We are never going back to him." And I said, "Yeah." And we both were pretty scalded by that, and just decided, if there's any way I can handle it at home, we're going to handle it at home. And I still do this with myself to this day, even though, I don't have any issues like I did. But, so I want to have like a little basket for migraines where I have things like cough drops, because sometimes I want a cough drop when I have a migraine. I can't explain that. Peppermints, soft peppermints. Oh, I love soft peppermints. So that would be good. Maybe some of those little pickle juice shots. I tried that yesterday, in the middle of the night. I tried it during this migraine. It didn't help, it didn't hurt either, but I like the smaller ones, and I didn't have those. The Mount Olive pickle juice shots, the 2-ounce ones, I like those. And more Gatorade powder. I would like different kinds of hydration drinks in like the sugar and the sugar-free version, because I don't want to have all sugar all the time. I have killed off the jar of the one with sugar with this last drink I'm going to have, just because I still have a headache right here. And I'm starting to think that when I get the headache here, it means I'm dehydrated. I need to explore that more. And yeah, just little care kit things, and maybe those little eucalyptus wipes I got a while back, put those in there. I just wipe my face with that. Although, no, that wouldn't be good because of the cats, but I think I'll just stick with this. But, yeah. He's the baby. And it stopped raining. So, I'm going to be okay, but it was just a rough night. And I tried to do some, at least, prayer warfare. I couldn't do any outreach like this, but, I at least pray for the recipients. And there was a man I ran into recently who was very, very troubled. And he has a big demon problem in his life. And yes, you can have a demon problem. And unfortunately, if you invite something like that in your life, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it without Jesus. I think it's impossible to get rid of it without Jesus. Um, I don't believe I'm called to do deliverance ministry, but I can at least oppose it in with prayer. Um, I was praying for it to for him to renounce it, for it to be bound up from oppressing him, for the people around him, and him to be protected from harm from this thing, and stuff like that. And I do pray that for him, Lord. He needs it. He needs you so much. And if you look in the New Testament, Jesus dealt with demons a lot. So did the apostles in the Acts. I believe they're still active now, but Satan has a different campaign now where, if you talk about that, it's comical, or it's fiction, or you're mentally ill and you need help, and that kind of thing. But those things are real. I saw that with my husband when he would have blackouts. He was inviting a demon in. I'm certain of that. And it was just sad and scary. You don't want to be in proximity to something like that. But if I am, I'm going to be praying. And he's the baby. Yes, he is. But I'm going to take it easy tonight. I made some rice pasta because a friend of mine a year or so ago made a point. She said, Heather, you eat a lot of wheat products and you have a lot of headaches. Have you ever thought there might be a connection? And I thought, that's a good point. So I am not going to eat any wheat products for a while after this, because I think once I slide into a migraine, it's easy to go back if I'm not careful with my diet. So I'm going to be careful. And so the rice pasta is good, and then I can get more when I get paid. And I'm going to go back to that thrift shop too. That was fun. And I cleaned out my closet, and everything in here fits. So that is good. I don't say I need a lot of stuff, but maybe a couple little cutesy sweaters, like the little fun cardigans, that kind of thing. Just, like if I want to take myself out to lunch or something, that might be nice. Cargo pants? I like cargo pants. Maybe a few shorts. Although I have like 4 or 5. I think I'm okay. But yeah, so that's it. Coming off the migraine.